Have you ever wondered why a righteous man like John the Baptist met such a gruesome end? This question often perplexes many, as the tale of John the Baptist's beheading is not a simple one. It's a narrative woven with threads of intrigue, the intoxicating allure of power, and the cunning nature of deceit. There's more than meets the eye, more than what's often told. So, are you ready to delve deeper? Let's journey back in time to explore the events that led to this tragic incident. John the Baptist, a prophetic voice in the wilderness, a man of integrity and fervor. A pivotal figure in the biblical narrative, John was a beacon of light in a world enveloped in darkness. His mission, to prepare the way for the one who was to come after him, Jesus Christ. Born to Zechariah and Elizabeth, his life was marked by a divine calling from the start. He was the voice crying out in the wilderness, calling people to a baptism of repentance. His approach was unconventional, his message direct, and his devotion to truth and righteousness unyielding. John was not just a prophet, but the last of the Old Testament prophets, bridging the gap between the Old and the New Testaments. His role in God's grand narrative was significant and his impact profound. However, John's adherence to truth and righteousness would soon place him in the crosshairs of a powerful ruler. The conflict began with Herod Antipas, the ruler of Galilee, and his illicit marriage. Herod Antipas, in a scandalous move, had married his brother's wife, Herodias. This was a blatant violation of Jewish law, and it didn't sit well with John the Baptist. John wasn't one to mince words or fear confrontation. He publicly denounced this act, calling out Herod Antipas for his blatant disregard for the law. John's voice rang out, echoing through the streets and squares, reaching the ears of the common people and the high-ranking officials alike. His words were like a slap in the face to Herod Antipas and Herodias. But John was not deterred by their power or their wrath. He was a man of conviction, driven by his faith and his commitment to the truth. John's outspokenness earned him a formidable enemy in Herodias, who sought to silence him. On Herod's birthday, a banquet was held, and it was here that Herodias found her opportunity. The banquet was a grand affair, a spectacle of power and wealth, filled with Herod's high-ranking officials, military commanders, and the leading men of Galilee. In the midst of this, Herodias' daughter, Salome, performed a dance. Her performance was mesmerizing, enchanting, a swirl of colors and graceful movements that held the audience captive. Herod, in his delight, made a rash promise. A king's word once given is not easily taken back. And so, he swore to give Salome anything she asked for, up to half of his kingdom. The cunning Herodias saw this as her chance. Nursing a grudge against John the Baptist for his bold rebukes, she instructed her daughter to ask for a macabre gift: John's head on a platter. Stunned by the gruesome request, Herod was caught between a rock and a hard place. He could either break his promise, losing face in front of his esteemed guests, or order the execution of a man he knew to be a prophet. Herodias had played her cards well. Herod, despite his respect for John and his initial reluctance, was trapped. He could not risk the political fallout of breaking his oath, and so the die was cast. The king's word was law, and now that law demanded a prophet's life. Herod ordered the execution of John, a man of God who had spent his life preaching about repentance and the coming of the Messiah. The chilling sound of the executioner's blade echoed throughout the palace, a grim reminder of the lengths to which people would go to silence those who spoke the truth. The guests at the banquet continued their revelry, oblivious to the profound shift in the spiritual realm. Bound by his promise and his guests' expectations, Herod reluctantly ordered for John's beheading. In this fateful banquet, a prophet lost his life, a king lost his integrity, and a woman gained her vengeance. The scene was set for a story that would echo through the centuries, a stark reminder of the price of truth in a world of power and deceit. With that, John the Baptist, the voice in the wilderness, was silenced. This marked the end of a life lived in the service of truth and righteousness. The shockwaves of his death reverberated through the land, leaving his followers in a state of deep sorrow and disbelief. After the gruesome beheading, John's disciples came forward, bravely defying Herod's court to claim their master's body. They buried him with all the respect and honor he deserved, a stark contrast to the callous disregard shown by the palace. Their grief was profound, but so was their resolve. John's death did not mark the end of his influence, rather it served to strengthen their devotion to his teachings. Let's take a moment to reflect on the impact of John's death, casting a long, dark shadow over the king's rule. In the grand scheme of things, John's beheading was a pivotal moment in biblical history. It underscored the themes of power and manipulation, showing the lengths to which those in authority would go to silence dissenting voices. It highlighted the grim reality that standing for truth often came at a great cost. Yet it also served as a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who refused to bow down to corruption and deceit. To recap, our story began with John the Baptist, a fearless preacher who dared to speak truth to power. His courage sparked a conflict with King Herod, leading to his imprisonment. The final blow came at a fateful banquet, where manipulation and a cruel promise resulted in John's beheading. His tragic end, however, only magnified his message, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of his followers and the pages of history. John the Baptist's story serves as a stark reminder of the cost of standing for truth in the face of power. It's a reminder that righteousness often doesn't go unpunished in a world fraught with corruption and deceit.